Imagine standing on the bustling streets of modern London, surrounded by markets and commerce, unaware that beneath your feet lies a ground once stained with the blood of rebels, heretics, and traitors. For centuries, Smithfield was not just a marketplace, but a grim stage for public executions, where the cries of the condemned echoed through the air, serving as a stark reminder of the brutal hand of justice. This is the dark tale of how an ordinary field became synonymous with death and defiance. Smithfield was never intended as a place of death. Originally an open plain outside London's medieval walls, it served as a vibrant space for trade, horse fairs, and royal tournaments. Yet, from the 13th century onward, its purpose began to shift towards something far more sinister. According to chronicler Matthew Paris, by the early 1200s, Smithfield was already a site for executions. In 1231, rebellious barons faced the gallows under royal command, marking the beginning of its transformation into an arena for state violence. What once buzzed with the energy of merchants and livestock now hosted displays of royal authority, where punishment was performed publicly to instill fear and obedience. By the 15th century, Smithfield's role expanded to include the persecution of those who challenged religious doctrine. In 1410, John Badby, a craftsman and Lollard follower, was burned alive in a barrel for denying transubstantiation. Even Prince Henry's momentary mercy could not sway him, and the flames were relit. As historian John Stowe later noted in the 16th century, this open field had become home to gallows for offenders, forever altering its identity from a place of life to one of ritual terror. Under Tudor rule, particularly during Queen Mary the Virgin's reign from 1553 to 1558, Smithfield became a furnace of religious persecution. Dubbed Bloody Mary by Protestants, her campaign against heresy turned the square into a theater of flame, where faith was tested by fire. One of the first victims was John Rogers, a Protestant preacher and Bible translator. On February 4th, 1505, he was led to the stake, his family watching from the crowd. As recorded in Fox's Book of Martyrs, Rogers faced the flames with defiance, washing his hands in the fire as though it had been cold water. This act was not mere execution, but a powerful statement against religious oppression. The burnings persisted, drawing crowds and dividing loyalties. Diarist Henry Machin described the July 1555 execution of a man and woman, noting the great cry of the people against the cruelty. Each burning was framed as a moral imperative, complete with sermons and spectacles, symbolizing the crown's unyielding grip on conscience and creed. As Smithfield's dark reputation grew, it became the preferred site for public hangings, where justice was not hidden but paraded before the masses. In the 14th century, city records mandated the construction of gallows in the field for executing malefactors, turning punishment into public policy. Chronicler Thomas Walsingham captured the atmosphere during the aftermath of the 1381 Peasants' Revolt, when rebels were hanged amid the cries of onlookers. The crowd's participation, shouting approval or recoiling in horror, made these events communal rituals, reinforcing social order. Archaeological evidence supports this history. Excavations near West Smithfield have revealed skeletons with neck fractures indicative of hanging. In this open space, executions were performances designed to deter crime through visible terror. For those accused of high treason, Smithfield reserved its most gruesome fate, being drawn, hanged, and quartered. This punishment, codified since the 13th century, aimed to dismantle not just the body, but the very legacy of the traitor. In 1305, Scottish leader William Wallace was executed here after defying King Edward I. According to the 14th century Scala Chronica, he was drawn from the tower to Smithfield, hanged and dismembered, a spectacle meant to crush rebellion. 2 decades later, in 1326, Hugh Despenser the Younger, favorite of King Edward II, met a similar end following a royal rebellion. His ritualistic punishment, performed with precision before the crowds, served as a stark assertion of monarchical power, with his remains scattered across the kingdom to symbolize utter erasure. Smithfield's executions for treason were theaters of vengeance, where visibility amplified the message. Betrayal would be met with total destruction. The executions at Smithfield reflect England's turbulent evolution, from medieval rebellions to Tudor religious wars, where power was wielded through public terror. What began as an innocent field ended as a symbol of state control, where martyrs and traitors alike met their end before watchful crowds. Today, Smithfield thrives as a market, its grim past paved over by progress. Yet, the echoes of screams and flames linger in history's shadows, reminding us that beneath commerce lies a story of human suffering and resilience. Is this transformation a sign of progress, or merely a veil over uncomfortable truths? As John Stowe reflected in 1598, what was once a field of gallows is now a market for horses and cattle, a poignant shift from death to daily life.